welcome to The Catalyst, an exciting and insightful podcast produced by Northeast Iowa Community College. I'm your host, Amy Lasik. Together, we'll explore the people, programs, and partnerships that make Northeast Iowa Community College unique. From student success stories to behind-the-scenes info about athletics, innovation, and industry collaboration, each episode dives deeper into your community's college. Get ready for an inside look at the impact of community-driven education at NICC. Well, welcome everyone to The Catalyst. We have a fantastic episode again for you today. The one thing we talk a lot about at NICC is that learning doesn't end when you graduate. That learning really is a lifelong endeavor. Whether it's earning a degree, building your technical skills, stepping into leadership, or maybe even learning something completely new, we want NICC to be your lifelong partner in education. And so today I'm excited to welcome NICC alum Amanda Kennedy to the podcast. Amanda graduated from NICC with a degree in business administration and has continued her learning journey through our Leadership Academy. And we're going to talk a little bit about her career path, her leadership, lifelong learning, what it looks like when education continues beyond that first credential. So Amanda, welcome.
Thank you, Amy. I'm excited to be here and share my journey today.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey. What brought you to NICC originally, and what made you choose business administration as your area of concentration?
I'm going to go back 20 years here and completely age myself. But I had a little bit of an interesting start to my college journey. So my first year, I was actually enrolled at University of Dubuque. And within the first 6 months of college, we had some major life events happen. My boyfriend then at the time and we got engaged, bought a house, took on full-time jobs. And this big plan that we had suddenly, the dynamic just shifted very quickly. And NICC was the other college I had evaluated at the time before attending UD. And so I finished my first year out there and transferred to NICC because it offered flexibility for how our life had changed at that time. I was one of the first students or the first wave of students, I should say, that entered into that full remote. So I was working full time while attending NICC and obtaining my education, nights and weekends. And so it was attractive to me as an option because it offered me the flexibility to still pursue my education. I didn't have to give that up just because we had these major life changes that, you set out on one path and it's not guaranteed that that's the path you're going to continue to take. So I was very, very thankful that NICC was there for me when my life did change and we had that pivot. And I was able to obtain my degree in business from NICC. And why I chose that one, I kind of went back and forth, in the early 2000s there. I was trying to seek out kind of the highest probability of employment at that time. I was looking at, okay, would it be real estate? Would it be accounting? And I settled on business because that that kind of translates, any company or organization you work for, any industry, who doesn't need somebody with a business background? So I thought that would probably translate to the highest probability of employability for me.
Yeah. That's great. And we hear that a lot from some of our learners at NICC about the flexibility and how that really was a key opportunity for them to continue down a path, but also fit their life into it as well.
Yeah, no, it really was a fit at that time for me.
What stands out to you when you think back to your time at NICC as a student?
So many different things. It was such a long time ago, but just the thing that stood out to me that the most, the professors, all of my instructors and professors, they were so kind. They were so understanding of me. They knew what I was trying to accomplish while working full time. They were empathetic to what I was working towards, and very empowering and understanding, if I'm submitting assignments, weird hours, late nights, or have questions. Everybody was so eager to help me out and help me reach those goals
Mm.
while I was working full time.
Love to hear that. And then, so now you work at Origin Design. So tell us a little bit about the company, your role at Origin Design, and the path that got you there.
So Origin Design, we are a 100% employee-owned company. We're ESOP. So we're in the AEC industry. It's architecture, engineering, and construction industry. And I started here just a little over 18 years ago. What drew me to Origin was a couple different things. When I first interviewed, the people are really who drew me here, and the culture. I wanted to be a part of that. I saw opportunity. It was an entry level position that I started at, but I saw opportunity for growth. And so I had those discussions in the interviews. Is there potential for me to grow into another role?
Mhm.
The answer was yes. And so I'm like, okay. It was a different industry. I went from a short stint in banking to publishing to consulting with that business degree. So
Yeah.
it's very, very mobile. And so I landed here. I received the job offer, and within the first year and a half, I received a promotion into the role that I did want to be in. And for the next 10 years, I was able to promote through a couple different levels in that role, which was really cool to me because that was kind of the path, or that's what I saw when I interviewed at the company, was a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like it's a really good fit for you.
I say it is, it was, it still is. So my role here, currently, it's the project support team leader, and I'm also our office manager. So I kind of wear a couple of different hats here, which is really cool for me because no 2 days look the same for me. I like variety. But so with the project support team lead, that's people management and leadership, and being accountable to my team, and then the company's leadership team in our organization. And then on the office management side, that's those super fun day-to-day kind of tasks. If we have an issue with the facility that we lease or things like that, it's a lot of chasing down and follow-ups.
Putting out fires when you can.
Yes, fire extinguishers over there.
Yeah. So it sounds like your position has a nice mix of management, but then also the leadership component of it. So at some point you decided to continue growing and going through that lifelong journey and participating in the Leadership Academy through NICC. What made you decide to blossom into leadership and really want to invest in that?
So an opportunity came open. Our office manager of like 36 years, she was retiring, and they needed someone to fill that role and that project support team lead role. And I would be lying if I said it wasn't a little nerve-wracking or scary. I had not led people before. I wasn't sure if I would be good at it. You kind of have those questions like, this is a really, really great opportunity, but there's just a little bit of that uncertainty. But I am a mom of 4 daughters. So while I'm leading tiny little humans in a different way, but so I took on that role, and it quickly became probably my favorite part of my career or my story. I am super passionate about growing and evolving people and their capabilities and those skills. It's something that you always have to work on. So leadership just doesn't stay stagnant. So in Leadership Academy, about a year and a half or so ago, when I had joined I think it was the first level of it. It's about 8-week program, half days. It was like 8 to noon on Thursdays. I kind of jumped at that opportunity because even though I had been in a leadership position for several years at that point, like I said, it's not something that you don't stop growing those skills. It's not like I'm a leader and this is how I lead the next 30 years. It's not in the same way. The challenges with the workforce or people leading, they're constantly shifting and changing in that space. And you kind of, as a leader, need to shift with it too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting because I wasn't sure what to expect with Leadership Academy. And it was wonderful. So again, even though I've been leading for several years, there were so many valuable takeaways. It was a great resource to me at that time to think back to, okay, I'm leading in this way, but am I thinking of this? Or, ooh, I need to be taking this into account. It further enhanced my leadership skills for sure. I do think it really strengthened my leadership capabilities. I loved coming back to my team each week and going, guess what I learned? Guess what I learned? Let me share this with you. Let's talk about it. We talked about it in team meetings. 5 generations in the workforce. I had 4 of them on my team, my small team of 5 people. There was four different generations within that team. And so, we talked about that and motivation. And, I had one going, yeah, this is what motivates me as a boomer. And the other one's going, this is not as a Zoomer what motivates me. And that's great to recognize as a leader. And then like DISC assessment, we cover things like that. So then you're dealing with multiple generations, but multiple types of personalities, and how you work together in that organizational space, how all that kind of melds and flows. You address things like accountability, people development, and then you get into nuts and bolts of things in Leadership Academy, even like when a meeting should be an email, because
Yeah.
like, oh, that was a great one to cover. I'm like, yes, that's, because we fall into that trap as leaders ourselves. Let's have that quick meeting. And does it really need to be a meeting? No. So it was just a lot of great content for me to be able to take back to my team and my organization and share out. But then, we're influential as leaders. So then I shared it at our team leader meetings. Some of us that have attended Leadership Academy, we've been able to share that out. And so we're helping other leaders in our organizations grow those skills as well.
That's great. And, one of the things we hear from people that have attended Leadership Academy in the past is not only the learning about yourself and how you can lead, but being able to share those ideas with others within the Leadership Academy class and having those conversations. Heard a lot from people about how valuable that has been as well.
Yeah, it was really engaging. So I wasn't sure when I went in, if presentation style or just what the structure of it would be. And I was pleasantly surprised because there was so much. It was literally round tables, but there was that peer-to-peer engagement at the tables and in the class itself. So it was, you do have to be prepared and engaged for every session. You can't just sit there. It's not presentation style. It's not just absorbing or learning on the technical side there. It's having meaningful conversations on, yeah, this is a challenge that I'm facing at my workplace, and your peers are helping you navigate and walk through that. And I also felt like it was a very safe space. We have all different industries and organizations in our town represented there. And so, ones that we work with, at Origin. And so it was kind of cool to see, okay, we're not the only ones struggling with that challenge, but I never felt like anything discussed in there left that room either. So it was just that safe space in the aspect where you could actually have meaningful conversations about, yeah, I am facing this challenge as a leader, but it wasn't the instructor solving a problem for you either. It was, they might ask questions and help navigate, but you have engagement from your peers to kind of help, hey, I dealt with this before. This is how I handled this.
Yeah, sometimes that's just as valuable, right? Because sometimes as a leader, you're sitting there and you're like, I feel like I'm the only one who's dealing with this exact issue right now. But being able to bounce ideas off of other people and hear that you're not alone can be very validating.
Yeah, it was, and it gave just unique or different perspectives of thinking, where there was a couple times where I'm like, gosh, I didn't think of it from that perspective, or from maybe the employee's lens, looking at it that way. And then there were several times where I felt like I provided value to somebody else, where I could kind of pitch in and offer my suggestions or how I navigated through it. And I felt like they really took that to heart. So it was really cool just to experience that as a group together.
Yeah, I love to hear that. It was a little give and take. You were able to provide for others, but also got a lot of it out of yourself. And I love to hear that you were able to implement some of the things that you were being taught right away, whether it was teaching other people or being able to bring some of those skills back and grow along with the class.
Yeah, it's, and it's not, as you're talking here, I pulled it out today too. I have it. So like this binder from Leadership Academy, it sits on my shelf back there. I pull it open. I reference the content, all of my notes, probably once a month. I still regularly look at it. It's great refresher or reminder because, as leaders, we come into our office each day and wherever your workspace is, and we get into that day to day. And sometimes we just kind of need to pull our head up a little bit and, hey, yeah, remember, some of these really cool skills and capabilities that we grew. We need to just take that step back a little bit and remind ourselves of those.
Yeah. So there might be somebody listening who maybe hasn't gotten to that point where they've invested in themselves to learn, to continue to learn. They've been on the job for a while. I hear a lot from people that are like, I'm just too busy to take a class. I'm just too busy. I got to get to work. I got all this stuff to do. I don't have the time to do that. What would you say to that person?
I don't want to say that's wrong, but most people will say I'm about the busiest person you will find. Again, full-time working mom, 4 kids. I sit on boards. I volunteer in organizations. I'm a super busy person, and so when the opportunity for Leadership Academy came up, and I heard it was okay, 8 weeks, 4 hour, 8 to noon, 4 hours. I didn't let that be a deterrent because for those 4 hours, for those 8 weeks, that time investment is going to pay off tenfold long term. I do recall the first session or two. I had my cell phone by me on the table, and I cannot tell you how many times that thing buzzed during the day from whether it was a coworker or my work. So I did have to go back to the office that first time, and I was like, listen, hey, I'm in Leadership Academy. This is a priority to me. I'm not going to be able to respond during this time. What it did was it allowed people who would maybe normally seek me out for an answer to seek out answers or find a solution from my teammates during that time, which further grows their skills. So
That's cool.
There's a little lesson or a nugget in itself, is that it's giving other opportunities to people to handle things. It doesn't always have to be, me.
Yeah.
But so it allowed me that time. That time was really important to me to invest in myself. And so if there's a will, there's a way. You're able to make it work. I didn't, graduate Leadership Academy at the end going, oh my gosh, this was just so much. I didn't feel that at all. It was definitely worth the investment. It's worth the investment in yourself.
And that's so great. A byproduct was that your team was able to figure things out on their own, which makes your job easier in the long run because they already know that they can do things.
Yeah, like a slight form of delegation, like unintentional delegation, as a leader, because sometimes we want to be responsive and take care of all of those things, and we got to get out of our own heads sometimes, and it doesn't have to always be like that.
Yeah, so making the time to invest in yourself sounds like it was well worth it. So what's next for you? Any professional or personal goals that you're excited about?
I want to continue to keep growing my leadership skills, continue with education, all different forms of it, whether it's, it's the technical side, the non-technical side. I'm just somebody who can't sit still, as you've noticed. So I'm a little bit of a busybody, but I just believe that, it's not like it's every year, but you should be growing yourself. You should be learning. When you're for me personally, I guess, when I'm in a leadership position, I'm responsible for people. And so there's always a capability or skill that I can grow that's going to help me evolve into a better leader. And I like growing other people's skills. It's really neat to see somebody who, maybe isn't as confident, or, they can perform in their role. And if you can grow their confidence skills, their capabilities, and slowly over time grow like that, their comprehension or their capacity, you can work with them in a very intentional way to get them from A to B to Z. And sometimes they don't realize that full potential that they have. And I just think that's really cool to see that progression over time. So that's what I want to continue to do, is keep growing people, keep growing my skills as a leader, help other people, mentor, strengthen my organization, I'm a tactical thinker by nature, but strategy is something I want to focus on, how to be more of a strategic thinker and strategic leader. So any resources out there, I'll be seeking those out. One other way I did want to quickly mention that NICC has these monthly webinar series that they launch. So I do sign up. I get an email each month. So if there's an organization or company out there that does not get those emails, it's a great resource because those are like micro learning sessions. So it's not a full on like a leadership academy. But I think NICC is great at putting resources out there. It's like a 30-minute webinar that is recorded. So if you have to miss due to a meeting, you get an email. If you signed up for it, you'll get an email with the link you can watch later. But it's like a micro learning session on, hot topics. Maybe it's navigating a difficult conversation, emotional intelligence and leadership. They do a really great job at NICC picking those topics that are relevant to all industries and putting that series out there. So it's another form of education that I enjoy.
That's great. And thanks for the plug. And those are no cost. So
yeah, they're
people
free.
can attend those. Yeah, attend those and sign up for those. And if you don't already follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn, that'll be your way to know when they're coming up, because we try to make people aware of those as much as possible.
Yeah, you're great at giving advance notice on those. I get the email and then I sign up for it. It adds it to your calendar. It'll let you know the day of. Like I said, it's, we're busy. And so probably one in every other, I actually get to watch live while it's happening, but then there's a meeting or something comes up at the office, but you get the link within the day and then I can watch it on my own time if I had to miss it.
Yeah. And I believe we keep them out on our YouTube channel too. So if you wanted to go back and look at some maybe that you've missed, people can do that too.
Yeah.
So this is fantastic. I'm so excited to hear your journey and how it's not ending after Leadership Academy, that you're going to continue to grow and move towards, I don't know if there's ever an end to a leadership journey. It's just constantly growing. So that's fantastic to hear. So we have a little segment on our podcast where we just kind of quick fire, give you some statements and you let us know if they're fact or fiction based off of your experience. Okay. All right. So the first one is business administration is only useful if you plan on starting your own company. Is that fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Hopefully people have been listening and can tell that totally is fiction, right?
Yeah.
How about non-credit training programs like the Leadership Academy can directly accelerate your upward mobility in the workplace? Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Yeah, definitely sounds like you have felt like it has made you grow as a leader and be able to bring some really helpful skill sets to the workplace.
Absolutely.
How about a degree in business administration gives you flexible, transferable skills that apply to many industries?
Fact.
Yeah, you jumped from a couple different industries from the time you graduated. So
yeah, I've experienced
opportunity. Yeah. And hopefully people have been listening and already know the answer to this one too, but you are done with college once you receive your initial degree or diploma. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Keep learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about local employers actively look to hire and promote NICC graduates because of their hands-on preparation? Do you feel like that's fact or fiction?
That's a fact.
Yeah, we hear a lot of great things. I'm so very grateful for our partners, employers in the area. Transitioning from a team member to a team leader requires a completely different set of communication skills. Is that fact or fiction?
It's a little tricky. I'm going with fact because it does.
Great. Yeah, a little bit of tricky one in there.
I was like, was that a trick question? I'm not sure.
All right, last one. You have to step away from your full-time job if you want to complete a professional leadership development program. Is that fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Fiction. I really appreciated what you said earlier about it's good to dedicate that time to yourself and be able to really learn during that time, but you didn't have to leave your job or anything like that.
No, it wasn't as big of a lift as you think it may be. And you'll be thankful at the end of it that you did it and you're walking away with a lot of great skills and tools in your toolbox to enhance your leadership. So absolutely worth it.
Well, Amanda, I want to thank you so much for chatting with us today. It's always fun to talk to NICC grads and see where they've gone with their journey since they've graduated with us. And you haven't gone very far. You keep coming back for our additional
Right?
learning. So thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you sharing your story and talking with us and being here today on the Catalyst. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
And if anybody listening wants to learn a little bit more about what you can enjoy at NICC and continue your learning, you can go to our website, www.nicc.edu. Or if you want to learn a little bit more about Origin Design, where Amanda is currently working, you can go to their website, origindesign.com. I think one of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is that education really isn't just one chapter. It's an ongoing story. And whether you're earning a degree, sharpening your technical skills, or stepping into leadership, there's always an opportunity to keep growing. So thank you all for listening to today's episode of The Catalyst. Be sure to check out those opportunities at those websites, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Catalyst. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Want to learn more about NICC and the many ways we support our students, partners, and community? Visit nicc.edu for more resources and upcoming opportunities. This podcast is produced by Northeast Iowa Community College and hosted by me, Amy Lasik, with executive producer Tessa Hill, producer Travis Hunt, and graphic designer Ashley Konzen.